This is Kagurabachi Chapter 7, Smoke Signal, and it flips a street fight into a full-blown heist, so let's break it down. We pick up mid-massacre, the clone sorcerer's dirt army still pouring across the street. Chihiro is bloodied, brain tampered with, and still shielding Char with his body. He's backed into a corner with no clean way out. The sorcerer just grins behind his demon mask, certain he's already won. So Chihiro tightens his grip on Enten. And then he simply moves, faster than anything we've seen from him. The sorcerer barely registers it happening. And honestly, this is where the chapter earns its hype. Chihiro digs deeper than he ever has. A cloak of pure spirit energy ignites around him. Enten's third ability, Nishiki. He's fast, the sorcerer realizes, but that wasn't sorcery, it was just raw speed. One blinding slash splits the air. Personally, I love that his big new power isn't flashy magic, it's just being faster than you can think. The trauma sorcerer goes down before he can even react, and the clone sorcerer finally understands he picked the wrong target. Chihiro scoops Char up and clears out before the next wave can form. But 3 more sorcerers are already waiting at the next intersection, and then a stranger steps calmly into the middle of it. Chihiro recognizes him instantly. Mr. Azami, it's been a while, thanks for the help. And what a debut. Azami dismantles all 3 of them like it's nothing. Char can only stare, completely thrown by this new face. Azami explains who he is, an executive of the Kamunabi, sorcerers who serve the nation by eliminating threats. They regroup back at Hinao's cafe to talk it through. Chihiro, Char, and Hinao settle in around the counter, and Shiba greets him with a knowing welcome back. Hinao's still catching up, this Azami is the one who saved them, and honestly, Char being openly, genuinely happy for once is the quiet heart of this whole chapter. Azami drops the big secret, only a handful of people even know Enten is the hidden 7th enchanted blade. Chihiro takes that in quietly. Having those enchanted blades loose in the world, Azami says, is a threat to the entire nation. Shiba admits his cover was always going to come to light eventually. And I appreciate that the series is honest that Chihiro is still green, no instant mastery, no cheap power creep. Azami lays it all out. Everything is going exactly as Sojo planned. Sojo, it turns out, has been blacklisted by the Kamunabi for more than a decade. He's so vile and so powerful that even they have never been able to touch him. And Sojo has just submitted an enchanted blade, Shinuchi, to a secret sale. Bluntly, Azami tells Chihiro that Sojo is completely out of his league, which is exactly the wall a great shonen needs, a villain you cannot just slash through. The sale is the Rakuzaichi, the criminal underworld's largest auction. Word is already spreading about Chihiro and his sword. Shiba ribs Azami that he's talking to a brick wall, Chihiro isn't backing off. And the auction goes down in exactly 1 month. Chihiro's eyes harden at the timeline. When those blades finally move, Azami warns, it will rock the whole nation. And just like that, the chapter shifts gears from a street brawl into a ticking heist clock. A brilliant pivot. They have to do everything in their power to be ready. And Chihiro, blade on his shoulder, is already all in. To be continued. If this breakdown made Nishiki and the Kamunabi finally click, then you are exactly who this channel is for. I cover every single Kagurabachi chapter, panel by panel, just like this one. So hit subscribe and smash that like button, and Chapter 8 lands the moment it is broken down. And tell me down below, can Chihiro possibly be ready for Sojo in just 1 month? This is Kagurabachi Chapter 8, and it is easily the darkest chapter yet, so let's break down exactly who Jinichi Sojo really is. We open back at Cafe Haru Haru, where Azami is laying out the plan to survive the coming auction. He tells Chihiro to rest and stay close to Char while the Kamunabi prepare their move. But he drives home one warning: you are nowhere near ready for Sojo yet. Hinao keeps the cafe running like nothing is wrong, a small island of calm. And Char, bless her, is mostly invested in a plate of chicken meatballs. Honestly, that tiny moment of Char just being a happy kid is the only warmth in this entire chapter, because the manga immediately cuts away to something much colder. We meet a man named Madoka Norisaku, the Dharma sorcerer Chihiro defeated back in Chapter 4. Back then, he bragged that he was born to kill. Now he just looks completely hollowed out. Because Norisaku has decided he is done. He wants to quit the sorcerer life, for good. He sits alone in his apartment, trying to work up the nerve to make things right. He calls his family, desperate to warn them, to protect them from what is coming. He tells himself it is fine, it is just late. She will pick up next time. But the dread on his face says he already knows he is too late. Daruma is dead, the chapter tells us flatly, and we cut to a car waiting in a silent garage. Norisaku gets in and finds his sister slumped beside him, bleeding out. And in the rearview mirror, sitting calmly in the back seat, is Junichi Sojo. Pay your debt, Sojo says, for failing the mission, the one Chihiro made you fail. Before Norisaku can even react, Sojo runs him through the seat with the enchanted blade, Cloud Guja. Norisaku screams that his sister did nothing, that she was never part of any of this. And then the full horror lands. Sojo did not stop at the sister. He murdered Norisaku's whole family just to settle a debt. Norisaku's Shikigami erupts in one last act of defiance. I won't die empty-handed. He swears he will drag Sojo down into the grave with him. It does nothing. Sojo walks away from the wreck without a single scratch. You're half-assed at everything, he says coldly, even at your own revenge. And for me, this is the exact moment Sojo stops being a plot device and becomes genuinely frightening. He doesn't kill for power or pride or a cause. He kills to balance a ledger. We also meet his subordinate, a grinning sorcerer who likes to drive his victims insane before finishing them. He talks about the new mystic katana like a kid with a new toy, and it is deeply unsettling. Sojo calmly hands him the next target, the man with the scar. I got a warm-up for later, the subordinate says, and you realize later means Chihiro. By the end of his cleanup, Sojo has left nothing behind but bodies. No speeches, no satisfaction, just silence. Back at the cafe, Chihiro is quietly sweeping up, trying to give Char something like a normal day. He's been training without stopping because he knows the gap between him and Sojo is enormous. And that is exactly the kind of villain a great shonen needs, a wall you cannot simply outpunch. Which is why the final pages hit so hard. A figure walks toward Cafe Haruharu, sword in hand. Chihiro instantly tells Hinao to hide. Char asks the question we are all dreading. What about Chihiro? She sees the blood on that katana and puts it together. You're Sojo. Sojo has walked straight into their home, and Chihiro draws Enten to meet him. Chapter 8 ends right there. On the edge of a fight Chihiro probably cannot win. To be continued. If this breakdown made Sojo finally click as a villain, then you're exactly who this channel is for. I cover every single Kagurabachi chapter, panel by panel, just like this one. So hit subscribe and smash that like button, and chapter 9 lands the moment it is broken down. And tell me down below, can Chihiro possibly survive Sojo walking into his home? This is Kagurabachi Chapter 9, Enten vs. Cloud Gouger, the clash this whole arc has been building toward. But first the chapter rewinds a few moments, to a car parked near a crowded city exhibit. Inside, Azami is uneasy. Sojo has been acting far too boldly lately. Shiba agrees, this is not the careful, untouchable Sojo they thought they knew. They realize Sojo is convinced he has already turned the tables on the Kamunabi. And the reason is simple, he is carrying an enchanted blade, the Cloud Gouger. These mystical swords, Azami reminds us, were everything in the old Seitei War. And all of this unfolds at an exhibit marking 18 years since Kunishige forged those very blades. The streets around it are packed with civilians. Azami's fear is exact. If two enchanted blades clash here, hundreds of innocent people die. Chihiro can fight, Shiba says, but holding back to protect a crowd is its own kind of trap. Then we snap to the present and Sojo makes his move. Chihiro meets him head-on, almost relieved to finally face the man behind everything. He ignites Enten, calling its abilities as the fight erupts. Sojo reads it coldly, so it is basically a flying, slashing attack. Then he answers with Cloud Gouger, and a dragon of cloud and lightning tears down the street. Enten's fire against Cloud Gouger's storm. And honestly, it is a genuinely beautiful clash to watch. Sojo's strikes come faster than Chihiro can fully track. Char and Hinao take the opening and run for safety, and Chihiro clocks the terrifying part. Sojo is not even out of breath. Instead of finishing him, Sojo wants to talk. Why do you swing that sword? His philosophy is chilling. Heroism saving the weak is just evil with nicer branding. The enchanted blades, he insists, exist for one purpose only: to steal lives. No one but me, he says, truly understands what Kunishige really was. We even glimpse a man who worshipped Kunishige, who loved him from the bottom of his heart, who studied everything he forged and called those blades the absolute peak of the craft. And that is what makes Sojo so good. He is not entirely wrong about the swords, only about people. Chihiro refuses to accept any of it and grips Enten tighter. Then he starts doing the math on his one trump card. Nishiki, the spirit cloak, which he can hold for only a few seconds, maybe less. Then Sojo does the cruelest thing imaginable. He charges a massive attack right in the middle of the crowd. By now, he sneers, everyone should have run away. So Chihiro makes his choice. He takes the thunderbolt head-on to shield the people behind him. It leaves him barely able to stand. But it bought the civilians the exact seconds they needed to escape. And even broken, Chihiro will not go down. Sojo just grins, completely fascinated by him. You say some genuinely interesting things, he admits, almost enjoying himself. But to Sojo, Chihiro is still just a boy clinging to a dead man's lie. Chapter 9 ends mid-clash. Chihiro outgunned but unbroken, exactly the hero his father was. To be continued. If this breakdown made Cloud Gouger and Sojo's whole ideology finally click, you are exactly who this channel is for. I cover every single Kagurabachi chapter, panel by panel, just like this one. So subscribe and smash that like button, and the next chapter lands the moment it is broken down. And tell me down below, was Sojo right about the blades? Or is Chihiro? Let's argue in the comments.